reached that. I wanted to see where Dad had been and what he'd done.
I had no interest in going back to Everest. I'm not a big fan of doing things twice. But Jade was super keen, and so we made a family trip out of it.
At Everest Base Camp, I spent a lot of time with an Icelandic lady who'd skied to the South Pole solo, and her name was Villa. Hearing about her stories was where my inspiration came from to start thinking about my own polar journeys.
As parents, we both have a rule that whenever the kids express a passion for something, you need to demonstrate that you're taking it seriously. You never tell them that it's stupid or, can never happen.
Well done.
And so we took the next step and the next step and the next step, and she kept ticking the boxes as we went along, and that culminated in Jade's ambitions in respect to the polar hat trick.
So my goal over the next couple of years is to complete the big 3 polar expeditions. The first expedition will be to the North Pole. The second trip will be the Greenland crossing next April. And then the third trip will be to the South Pole all the way from the coast at the end of next year. If successful, I would then be the youngest person, male or female, in history to have done all of them together.
What do you think will be the most challenging thing for you?
Probably the mental challenge. Also frostbite and hypothermia, where the extreme cold and winds can drop the air temperature to minus 50 degrees, where you can't expose your skin for long.
The reaction amongst everyone is, I think people are overwhelmed at the audacity of doing such a massive task. When I actually found out the extent or the magnitude of the 3 adventures, to do all 3 is amazing.
Stand, good, that's 2. Now we're into it. Strong, guys. 17, one more.
Going into the North Pole, we did a year of hard work and training. We spent a week in New Zealand learning how to cross-country ski and polar travel and survival skills.
Stand tall in a straight line. Straight line. Jade is unique with the degree of mental toughness that she has at her age. I was amazed at the level of commitment that she gave to that process of training 4 or 5 times a week. Really, a lot of this training is about preparing her mentally for being comfortable, being uncomfortable. Suffering is unavoidable on these trips, and I do genuinely believe that people who are good at life are good at suffering.
With the things that I do, I always choose something different, going out there and doing stuff that I may not be so familiar with and pushing myself to the limits. I think it's the mental side of me that makes me want to do things that I struggle with. It wouldn't be amazing if it was easy.
Go. Nice. Good job.
I've had people say to me, especially on the lead up to North Pole, don't you think this is too much for your daughter? Your daughter's a teenager, don't you think she should be doing normal things? And it's like, well, what is a normal thing? For her, this is a normal thing. And do you think, as parents, we could make her do this? When the polar hat trick idea came about, there was no question that Jade would be doing it with her dad. If Paul wasn't going, it wasn't on the table at all. There's no possible way at the age of just turning 14 that Jade was going off to do any of that.
It might level off around this corner.
To the left or to the right?
To the left.
It's not a normal thing that I guess dads would do. He's not really a normal dad, I would say. And yeah, I'm really lucky to have his support.
Just gonna poke you in the ear.
So the day that we were meant to go to the North Pole, Dad was hospitalised.
I was struck with very intense pain in my abdomen. I had a very large kidney stone in a bad spot, which required surgery. One of the things I'm worried about, Nick, is the harness that I'm pulling is going to be sitting right in the spot where the stent is. Is that?
Look, I guess the major issue is any increase in activity with a stent in place will cause a lot of bleeding in the urine. The advice would be best to stay in Melbourne.